He stood at the edge of the dusty village road, heart pounding like a drum in the silence of the night. The old lantern shook in his hand. Shadows moved across the mud houses. The crowd whispered his name, but not kindly. "Poor boy," someone muttered. "Dreamer," another scoffed. His chest burned. His mind raced. He had one chance, one decision that could change everything. Behind him, his mother cried quietly, begging him to stop. In front of him, the village elders stared, eyes sharp, testing him. The land he wanted to buy was cursed, they said. The business idea was madness, they said. A poor man should know his limits, they said. But he had thought bigger, much bigger. The wind picked up. The lantern almost went out. But would this bold thinking lift him out of poverty or destroy him forever? This all started in a small village surrounded by golden wheat fields and slow, winding dirt roads. The kind of place where everyone knew everyone, where news traveled faster than the river in monsoon season, and where life moved at the same quiet pace it had for generations. His name was Ayan, a thin, soft-spoken boy with big eyes and worn-out clothes. He lived in a small mud house with a tin roof that rattled whenever the wind blew. His father had died when he was young, leaving his mother to stitch clothes for the richer families in the nearby town. Money was always short. Dreams were always considered dangerous. Every morning, Ayan walked barefoot to the fields to work for the landlord. He carried tools, fetched water, and harvested crops under the burning sun. At night, he studied by the light of a small oil lamp, reading borrowed books about business, invention, and people who had changed their lives through bold ideas. The village was peaceful, almost cozy. Children played near the wells. Women laughed while washing clothes at the stream. Old men sat under the banyan tree, telling the same stories they had told for decades. Life was predictable, safe, small, and that was exactly what scared Ayan. He didn't hate the village. He loved the smell of wet soil after rain. He loved the quiet evenings when the sky turned orange and purple. He loved his mother's gentle voice when she told him stories before sleeping, but deep inside, he felt trapped. He dreamed of building something new, something that could bring money, jobs, and pride to the village. He dreamed of starting a small rice mill, then a shop, then a trading center that could connect farmers directly to the city. He dreamed of the village becoming known for success, not poverty. But whenever he shared his ideas, people smiled politely and shook their heads. "Big thinking is for rich people," the village elder once told him, tapping his walking stick on the ground. "Focus on survival," another man warned. "Dreams don't fill stomachs." Even his mother worried. Yet every night, Ayan stared at the stars and whispered promises to himself. One day, he would prove them wrong. One day, his village would hear his name with respect. He didn't know then that thinking big would soon put him against the very people he loved most. He didn't know that his dream would turn into fear, conflict, and a moment that would shake the entire village. And he definitely didn't know how high the price of a big dream could be. Ayan's dream didn't stay a secret for long. He stopped buying sweets. He walked instead of paying for the old bus that passed the village twice a week. He collected scrap metal, repaired broken tools, and sold them in the town market. People noticed his strange discipline. "Why work so hard for nothing?" One farmer laughed. But Ayan wasn't working for nothing. One evening, he gathered a few young boys under the banyan tree and told them about his plan. A small rice mill, just one machine. Farmers wouldn't have to travel far. They could grind their harvest in the village and earn more. The boys listened with wide eyes. It sounded magical. Word spread, and not everyone liked it. The village landlord, Malik Sahab, had controlled the fields for decades. Ayan's idea threatened that control. If farmers earned more and became independent, Malik Sahab would lose power. One afternoon, Malik Sahab called Ayan to his courtyard. The floor was clean, the walls painted bright blue. It felt like another world compared to Ayan's mud house. "I hear you want to start a business," Malik Sahab said calmly, sipping tea. "Yes," Ayan replied, trying not to shake. "You are poor," Malik Sahab said simply. "Poor people should be careful with big ideas. Big ideas can break bones." Ayan understood the warning, but he nodded and walked away, heart racing, mind burning. Still, he continued. He convinced his uncle to lend him a small piece of unused land. He even wrote letters to a microfinance group he had read about in a newspaper. Every step felt dangerous, like walking on thin ice. Then the rumors started. People whispered that Ayan was arrogant. They said he thought he was smarter than the elders. His mother heard these whispers and begged him to stop. "Son," she said one night, stitching under the dim lamp, "we are safe. We have food. Why fight powerful people? Why challenge fate?" Ayan held her hand. "Ami, safety is not the same as life. If we think small forever, nothing will ever change." His savings disappeared from the clay pot he hid under the floor. Someone spread false stories in the town market that Ayan was a scammer. The man who promised to sell him the machine suddenly refused, saying he had received a warning from unknown people. He felt watched, followed, judged, but he also felt something stronger: determination. He started working nights in a brick kiln outside the village. He earned extra money, enough to buy the machine himself. He didn't tell anyone. He wanted to surprise them. When the truck finally arrived with the old rice mill machine, the entire village gathered. Some were curious, some were angry, some were secretly hopeful. Malik Sahab arrived too, leaning on his cane, eyes cold. "This machine will fail," he announced. "Mark my words." Ayan ignored him. He worked for weeks, repairing the machine, building a small shed, testing it with borrowed grain. The sound of the machine echoed through the village like a heartbeat. Farmers lined up. They paid small fees. They smiled when they saw how much they saved. For the first time, they felt control. And that was when things turned dark. Ayan realized his dream had become a battlefield. Every success made his enemies stronger. Every step forward made the tension heavier. One night, Malik Sahab sent a message through a messenger. "Bring your machine documents. We will decide your future." Ayan felt a chill. Village council meetings were rarely fair. He knew the breaking point was coming. He knew the village would soon choose between staying small or letting a poor man think big. The council gathered under the banyan tree, faces tense. Ayan stood in the center, holding a folder of papers with shaking hands. Malik Sahab sat on a wooden chair like a king, elders around him like judges. His mother stood behind the crowd, her eyes wet. "This boy is disrupting peace," Malik Sahab said. "He brings outside ideas, outside money." A farmer stepped forward, "But he helped us. We earn more now." Malik Sahab slammed his cane on the ground. Power should not be in the hands of dreamers. Power belongs to those who protect tradition, the crowd murmured. Ayan's heart pounded. He stepped forward. "I am not your enemy," he said. "I am your son, your brother, your neighbor. I only want us to grow." The village elder narrowed his eyes. "And who gave you permission to grow beyond us?" Silence. Then Malik Sahab revealed the truth. He held up forged papers. "This land is not his. This machine was bought with stolen money. He is a fraud." Gasps exploded through the crowd. Ayan felt the world spin. "These are lies," he shouted. Malik Sahab leaned forward, smiling. "Prove it, or leave the village forever." Ayan opened his folder, his real documents, loan papers, receipts, contracts. Hands shaking, he placed them on the mat. The elders examined the papers. Minutes felt like years. Finally, the village elder looked up. His voice cracked. The papers are real. Ayan raised his voice. You tried to destroy me because you fear change. But change is coming. The crowd erupted. Some cheered. Some cried. Some stared at Malik Sahab with anger. Power shifted in that moment. The crowd didn't leave after the council ended. They stayed under the banyan tree, whispering, arguing, rethinking everything they believed. For years, Malik Saab's word had been law. Now that law had cracked in front of everyone. The elders stood quietly, embarrassed that they had almost destroyed one of their own, based on lies. Some farmers approached Ayan, shaking his hand, patting his back, apologizing for doubting him. Others kept their distance, unsure how to feel about a boy who had challenged centuries of tradition. Malik Sahib did not apologize. He walked away slowly, cane tapping against the dirt, his authority shaken. That night, his courtyard felt smaller, quieter. People stopped coming to him for advice. Farmers began making decisions without asking his permission. His power did not vanish overnight, but it began to fade like an old painting losing color. Ayan returned to his small shed and restarted the rice mill. Ayan hired 2 young boys from the village, paying them fair wages. For the first time, those boys' families slept without worrying about tomorrow. His mother watched all this quietly. She still feared trouble, but pride warmed her eyes. She started telling neighbors, "My son thinks big. That is his blessing and his curse." There were still challenges. The machine broke often. Electricity failed. Some villagers still believed he was arrogant. But something had shifted deep inside the village. People started dreaming. A tailor spoke about opening a proper shop. A farmer talked about starting a dairy business. Ayan became a symbol. Not a perfect hero, not a rich man. Just proof that a poor boy with a big mind could bend reality. One evening, Malik Sahab came alone to the rice mill. The sun was setting, painting the fields gold. He stood quietly, watching Ayan work. "You won," Malik Sahab said finally. Ayan wiped sweat from his forehead. "No, the village won." Malik Sahab nodded slowly. For the first time, he looked tired instead of powerful. Years passed. The village changed, slowly, gently, like a river carving new paths through soil. Ayan expanded his mill, opened a small trading shop, and helped others start businesses. He was still not rich, but he was respected. People listened when he spoke. Children gathered around him to hear stories about the world beyond the fields. His mother lived to see her mud house replaced with a small brick home. She sat on the porch every evening, watching the road where her son once stood trembling with a lantern. Ayan often remembered that night, the fear, the whispers, the question that had haunted him. He realized something important. Thinking big had not made him powerful. Acting on that thinking had. And in a quiet village that once believed dreams were dangerous, a poor man's bold thoughts had rewritten fate one small step, one loud machine, and one fearless moment at a time.